There's a lot of things that are kind of extraneous to your blog post, I guess, but they are super vital. So alt text and meta descriptions are two of those things, and ChatGPT can help you do them. Because to be honest, one of the things I hate most in this world, after formatting, is writing meta descriptions. They're not super fun, they're kind of blah, but they are so important. And we can automate them with ChatGPT. So I'm going to show you two different ways we can do that, and then we're also going to go over some ways that you can use ChatGPT for alt text. Now, I will say alt text is incredibly important. My grandmother is blind, so I am all too familiar with it. I have friends that use screen readers for all sorts of reasons, and they lose so much value in a piece by not having alt text for images. So I highly recommend you pay attention to how I do this, because it's also good for Google. It's more important though, like it is really beneficial to your users, especially to your disabled users. But before I go preachy about that, because I will preach about it, I promise, let's start with metas. So you can see I just did a cursory search for things to do in Rome, and we're just going to come in here and grab something from a blogger. So here we have It's Not About the Miles. I'm not familiar with their content. I'm not going to speak to it. I just did a random Google search, and I'm going to pull some of their posts now. So if I take a section of this post, or there's two options. I do use the free Chrome Chrome extension for Ahrefs. It's 100% free, which you can also use to just get their whole outline. So it depends on what you want it to specifically reference. Most of the time I do want kind of the first three things. So I'm going to come in here and try to grab, let's see if we can fit two things, but we might max out the prompt area. So I'm going to come over to ChatGPT. Hi, ChatGPT. Please act as an expert blog writer and SEO. I wrote a blog and now I need you to write a meta description for it. To start, please read the blog and say read when you're done. And I'm just going to paste the piece that I copied, and I'm going to copy the whole thing just in case it gets mad about the length. But I think it looks like we might be okay. Yes, okay. So now it's going to just try to write its own. As you can see, this is too long. So we only get 160 characters. It looks like it's, 283. So that's too long. It started writing. Sometimes that happens. What I want to do instead is now train it on meta descriptions. So using the same Ahrefs plugin that I used here, you can see the meta description of your competitors. So what I want to do is go in and find some competitors with a meta that I can train it on, or train it on my existing metas. Now, it's not necessarily about the content, it's more about the structure that we want. So we want to tell it, and ChatGPT is not good when you tell it a certain word count or character count. It seems to be incapable of counting. But if we can feed it enough that we at least get the right kind of cadence of it going in terms of kind of 2 sentences, pretty short, quick summary, and we're going to tell it to include a certain keyword. So because that's our specific one, I want to actually train it on some others. This is a slightly hard keyword because stuff like TripAdvisor doesn't really do metas properly, but we're just going to go through and grab as many as I can. Great. Now I'm going to train you to write a good meta description. Meta descriptions are, and then you're just going to list some facts about them. Maximum 160 characters long, include the primary keyword of the post. For this one, it's things to do in Rome, and contain one hint at the content inside to make the user click. Here are some examples. And then we're just going to start listing them. So there's one, go try to find it. I usually do at least 3 if I'm going to train it on something. Just that way we're getting a good variety. Now, if your competitor has a truly terrible meta description, just stop and go get another one. Doesn't like Lonely Planet today. Let's try somewhere else. Let's Try photos. Maybe my internet's just not working. Not sure what's happening here. I tried too soon. Come on. There we go. Yeah, okay. I was just overzealous. That's on me. They don't have one. That's a no-no. Always have one. Highly recommend. Nope, that's too long. I don't want to accidentally. It wasn't too long by much. I'd probably typically use it, but we're doing best practices today. Now, please write a unique meta for the blog post I gave you based on the structure and teachings I just shared. So it went with 3 sentences, not bad. It is 197 characters, so a bit too long, but I think if we just cut out that 3rd sentence, we should be good. 163, so minor change, but here we've got something pretty good, I would say. So unearth the hidden gems of Italy's capital with our guide on the ultimate things to do in Rome. Dive into its rich history, iconic sites, and tantalizing cuisine. So if you wanted to have more specifics, if you wanted it to say something like reference a certain thing, like this one talks about like how long you'd be there, maybe you want it to reference, I don't know, the pizza or something, you can just say that. That being said, I don't care that much about my metas. I don't need it to be the most amazing thing ever. This is totally fine by me, and if I just find a way to cut out 3 characters, we are set. So there you go. That's how you would do this meta. Now, you could also do this instead of by giving it like the post itself, give it just the outline. And that would then give it more that it can base the whole post on, or like base its understanding of the whole post on, because then it has more knowledge of like what the whole post talks about. This is still going to be quite cursory regardless. I mean, it's 2 sentences to summarize like the entire post, so it's never going to like include everything. But especially for something that's like really hyper specific, or like a how-to or step-by-step guide or a recipe, this is definitely the kind of thing that you would want to include the steps or the outline for. For things to do in Rome, especially like Rome is pretty well known, it would have a good idea of stuff to reference. So then it'd be up to you otherwise to pull the outline. That way it just can see all of it. So if I come here, I can just highlight this whole thing and then feed that in. So let's just go up to how to get to Rome. Great. Now, can you please do the same for a post with this outline? And we'll see how it changes it. So it's a bit too long, but I would say about there would probably be high enough. So you could even say rewrite it in a more concise way. And that's how you can get it to shorten stuff. There we go. I think that's a great one. So here we've got 157 characters. And remember, I didn't tell it to include the word things to do this time. If I wanted it to include Rome things to do, I could have specified that. We have 23 top attractions in Rome. I didn't give it a title here. I just gave it like the 23 things, really. So I didn't give it super specific thing there. That would be the only thing I would change. Otherwise, I think this is a great meta and I would run with it. Now, another option is if you just want to start from training it on metas first and then just tell it, I'm writing a post. So here, great. Now let's do another one. So otherwise I would start with the same kind of prompt I did here where I trained it. We would just start with that. Like basically the command I would do is, hey ChatGPT, please act as an expert blog writer in SEO. I wrote a blog post about topic. Now I need you to write a meta description for it. And then rather than sharing the post, I would say meta descriptions are, and then train it on meta descriptions. And then I would say, please write the unique meta for, and then instead of the blog post I gave you, a blog post about, use that thing. based on the structure and teachings I shared, good to go. So that's how I would do it that way. So we're going to just do one here where we say, let's do another one. This is for a blog post about the best pizza in Italy or in Rome. Use the keyword best pizza in Rome in the meta, please. There you go. So now we've got another one, and it is 171 characters, so a tiny bit long. You could then shorten this. Let's see. I don't even think you need and savor every slice. Cut that out, you're good to go. There we go. So obviously these still require a little bit of work, and it's not going to be the perfect thing every single time, but making those little adjustments are very, very easy and much easier than just like doing it yourself when you hate doing them. So a very simple thing to do. And if you have a chat where you train it once, you can just keep like this going again and again, sort of a thing, and then you're set, which is super helpful. Now for alt text, we're going to do a new chat window. Alt text is a little bit different because at time of recording, you can't currently like feed an image into ChatGPT and have it just know the image. So when the plugin is working, you are able to, why isn't it not letting me do this today? There we go. When the plugins are working, there is a plugin called Link Reader, but it's currently not working for some reason. So you otherwise would have been able to like feed the link of the post and have it write the meta. And in theory, that's supposed to make it see images. It's never worked for me. So just not a feature that exists. Instead, what you can do is train it on good alt text. So we're going to do the same thing as the meta, and we are going to train it on what good alt text is for a picture with SEO in mind. And then we're just going to tell it what the picture is of. So it does require us to start the process for sure. It's by no means a one-click and it's done sort of situation, but this does work better than not having anything. So let's just take the picture of the Colosseum that they have. Hey ChatGPT, please act as an expert in SEO. We are going to write alt text for some pictures for a blog post. Alt text is the text to describe an image for visually impaired people. The best structure for alt text is what is in the picture, how does it relate to the post at large. This post is about the best things to do in Rome, and the picture is of the Colosseum on a sunny day. Please include the keyword best things to do in Rome or a variation in the alt text. So give it a second to think, but this is essentially like all you have to do. It doesn't need to be like the most massive thing. You don't need to like necessarily train it on a ton of stuff, but this is the basics that I use. So here we have sunlit Colosseum on a clear day, showcasing one of the best things to do in Rome. That's fine, to be honest. Like that would be passable for most people. I am not most people, so I describe it a bit more. I would talk about how like the blue sky, what the Colosseum actually looks like. If someone's blind, they have never seen it. So you do need to describe it to them. The lineup of people, the grass, and the flowers. Now, I definitely go above and beyond. So I would add those things in when I'm prompting it about what's in the picture. Most of you guys probably aren't going to bother with that. And while I think that's a shame, I will be honest with you, I think it's worth it going the extra mile for it, and providing the most value possible to your disabled readers. This would be fine. Like this would be enough. What you can also do is some different plugins. There's one called Alt Text Magic. It's not great for doing like an actual like AI written alt text, but I use the basis of what it gives me. And then you could feed it in here with this prompt and it would expand it a lot more. But it does describe more of the stuff in the image. The one that I use most often is called Instant Images. It's free and it pulls from Unsplash and Pexels and Pixabay right in the back end of your site. So you're able to like pull in stock photos more easily. And it will give the stock photo a bit of a description when you first download it. So I will take that description and then say like here, like the pictures of, and then give it that description. And usually it's a few words. I may have to add something more specific. For example, if you downloaded this one of the Colosseum, it doesn't necessarily know that this is the Colosseum. So it might just say like brown building or something. So you may have to add in the word Colosseum, but it still works. So this is the rough kind of beginning of a prompt. You would then just need to add in what the picture is showing and if there's a keyword to include. Whether or not you're going to include it in every single one, that's up to you. Definitely do not just keyword stuff and just say like, for this picture, the best things to do in Rome. Don't do that. Explain the picture. It's more helpful. And it's very annoying as a user who uses a screen reader sometimes when I'm going through a post and it'll just go, picture, best things to do in Rome, and then just keep going. And I'm like, what? Like, what was the picture of? Like, it's so unhelpful. So help your audience, please, 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 please. But yeah, these are my, don't know what I clicked there. But these are my methods for generating alt text and metas super easily, very quickly. And very quickly, you'll be able to do these faster and faster and faster, especially if you just say like, great job, here's another image, give it more description, you are set and you're gonna be kind of flying through these, which is super helpful. And make sure that you actually include them, because otherwise, to be honest, I wouldn't include metas if I didn't have ChatGPT write them for me.